Alright, in this video let's create a shop CMS website. So CMS is nothing but content management system. So this is the home page. You can see there is a slider which is dynamic, which is actually coming from database, and we have the list of products. So as of the general audience can only view this page, and if you are an admin you can edit the products, you can add, insert, add, delete and update the product. So let me try as an admin first, and I'll show you what are the features the what admin can have which the normal user don't have. So now it's asking me to log in, so let me just try logging it with the admin email. Now as an admin you have two more features. The first one is create, so you can list all the products, and you can see you can do a CRUD operation here, and we have added the pagination as well. And let me just try adding a product. So here you need to click on create. So let me add a pizza, and the price is like 200, and you can insert the image and click on save. Once it is saved, you'll see it says that it has stored successfully, and now in the second page you'll see the pizza has been added. So in case if you want to modify the image or the text, just click on the edit, and you can make this chicken pizza, and you can choose the image as well. So let's choose of this image and click on update, and now you can see the name as well as the image has been updated. So let's check in the home page. So now the pizza is also there. So as of now I'm logged in as a admin, so let me open it in incognito mode and check it as a regular user. So this is a regular user page. You can see the login and register is also available. And now as I said, you can create, view and delete. So now this is ice cream shop, so there is no point of adding pizza to this shop, so I would like to delete it. So now if I click on delete, you will see a model appears, and it's asking me, are you want to delete, are you sure you want to delete? And I'll say yes. So it is deleted. You can see the message says delete successfully, and in the home page you'll see the pizza will no longer be available in the ice cream shop. Cool. Now in case if you're wondering, does the regular user can access these links without logging in, let me check. So I'm passing the link, and it will say, it will give me an error. It won't allow me to access. So the same way for create, it is going to give me an error. So as a regular user, even if he has a URL, he or she won't able to access and modify the content of your website. So this is a basic CMS website, so I'm going to start it from scratch, and here you will learn a lot of things. So let me just divide this into three sections. The first thing is we need to create the database, and with the help of Laravel model we'll be creating it. And the second thing is, so database is there. The second one is we need to create a form so that we can insert the values to the database. So we will see form validation with Laravel, and then we will see how to import this admin LTE dashboard, in how to integrate this admin LTE dashboard into our website. So this is the backend, and you can see this is admin LTE dashboard. This is the bare minimum HTML and CSS I have added, so though it doesn't look so clutter. So what is required, I have just added it. So I leave all the link, all the images, all the code, source code in the description in case if you got stuck somewhere, and follow along with me. Now the third section of the first section is database creation. The second section is CRUD with creating form validation. So as I said, form validation, if you click on create and if you click on save, you will see form validation. So this is created with the help of Laravel. So this covers the second section, and the third section is nothing but the URL. So with the help of controller, we will make sure the proper routing system happens. So what do you mean by routing system? So you can see if I click view, the index shows up. If I click create, the create shows up, and if I click home, relevant, the home shows up. And you Additionally, we have two more features in the CRUD, which is we will be seeing the pagination part. In the view section, you can see I have just listed 3. If it is more than 3, it will show in a new page. So this is also we have added it. And the fifth one is middleware. So we'll understand the concept of middleware. So the restriction between the admin user and the non-admin user can be differentiated with the help of middleware. So only the admin will have access to these backend operation CRUD operation, and the regular user will not have the CRUD operation. Again, if you log out and log in as some random user, let's say other than admin, it's just a regular user at the gmail.com. So I'm logging in as a regular user. So even if I logged in as a regular user, you can see I won't be able to edit or view or get into the login or get into the dashboard of this website. So some major concepts that we will be covering here is model, create and understand model, create and understand controller. So the request and rules are for validation, and how to link the images, how to store the images in Laravel, and how to retrieve images in Laravel, and how to pass messages between two pages. As you can see previously, as I update, as I delete, as I do some CRUD operation, you will notice that alert message saying that something is stored successfully, something is updated successfully. So that can be done with the help of this message. And we'll see a deeper look of the controller's function, like index, create, destroy, delete, and update. The same way, model also has some static functions like find, get, and delete, which will retrieve and update database tables data. And finally, the pagination and the data seeder is a concept we'll look in a later on, as it's just a need. Why do we need this? So it's come as a solution for the problem we will be facing during this section. Now also we will be having a deep look of middleware. Cool. So this is the Laravel point of view, and in case if you want, this section is the complete CMS website point of view. So you will be creating database controller, importing admin LTE, creating forms, storing the data from form to the database table, and will be displaying all the database table into the HTML table. We'll be displaying all the databases value in the HTML table, and we'll be deleting the row, and we'll be adding the pagination. Cool. So this is for CMS website, and this is Laravel In Depth. So these are the summaries of the project which we will be creating right now. So this is ice cream shop. So now we can create something called pizza shop, or there is one more thing. So this is the source code you'll be getting along with the images which I'll be using. So we'll be creating a burger shop in this video. So now let me close this server and create from scratch. So the first thing, we would be creating a Laravel project. We'll name it as burger shop. So we are telling, so make sure you come outside of your current project. Now I'm storing all the project inside htdocs Laravel project, and I'm telling composer create a project, download the Laravel project, and name it as burger shop, and preferably use this version. So once you make a installation, so now Laravel will download the package called Laravel and install it into your system as on the specified path. Now just like that, we would be creating. Now we need to get into the project cd, which is burger shop, and inside the burger shop we need to install one more package, which is Laravel UI. And once the Laravel UI gets installed, we need to install one more package, which is Bootstrap authentication. So that will be responsible for this login and logout. And once you have executed this command of bootstrap auth is nothing but authentication. Now we need to run one more code, php npm install and npm run dev. Sometimes what may happen is after you execute this code, you need to execute one more time npm run dev. And as said, I have to execute this code again. So make sure this kind of process happens while you execute this code. So once all the execution is complete, you should see something like this table comes up. Now you can run php artisan serve, and you will see you can access your project in this URL. So this is a URL, 127.0.01 is nothing but localhost IP address, and then we have the port number 8000. Now if you click on enter, so this is the burger shop. Now if I click on login, you'll see everything works fine. Cool. Now let me load this project in our Visual Studio Code. Make sure you are in your current project, so type code and then dot. So as you type, you will see the Visual Studio Code open, and let me close this one. Now you'll see the burger shop has opened now. So now we don't need this. So when there's a call for the URL, which is the local host, you will see the server is down. So to activate the server, you have to type php artisan serve. And now let's understand where these pages are coming from. So Laravel gets into the routes folder. Inside the routes we have web.php. So when there is a call for a local host, so this local host means this slash, so it is returning a view HTML. So actually it's a blade, it's not HTML. We should call it blade. If it is just a static page, we'll call it as static HTML page. So since it's Laravel, we need to call this blade. Blade is nothing but a file. It's a fancy word of a single web page in Laravel. Now so it's executing a view, and the view is nothing but welcome. So this view is coming from resources, views, then you will see welcome, the name welcome. Ignore the blade.php, you just need to focus on the first word welcome. So you can do anything you want, so you can simply call this, you can simply delete all and just call it burger shop, and if you refresh it, you'll see burger shop. Cool. So I hope that it is clear. So now it's time to create a database. So we'll name this database as burger shop. Make sure your XAMPP is on or else it won't work. Create a new database, click on this new, and it will create a new database for you, and we are going to name the database as burger shop. Click on create. Now we have created a database and we have a Laravel folder, so we need to link these database and the Laravel folder with the help of env file. So in the env file we'll see the database is this and the localhost, and the database is Laravel, and click on save. So I'm using XAMPP, so there the username is root and the password is blank by default. So now we have linked it. So once we link it, you need to open it, the burger shop, it would be blank, and we need to create a model. So the model is responsible for creating uh, whatever operation we need, like we need to store the data, we need to update the data, we need to delete the data. This can be done with the help of model. So we need a intermediator, so the model acts as an intermediator. So let's create a model for now. Close the server. So before creating it, let me show you where the model will be created. In the app we have a model folder. As of now we just have only one model, which is user. Let's create one more model, which is the model called just a burger. and execute the code, the model would be created. You can see the worker is created. So along with this, there would be one more thing which is called this is database. Just consider this as a database, and inside the database there is some tables which are automatically created. So other than the burger table, all the previous one Laravel automatically creates it. So these are linked to the user model, and only the burger has this table. Let's call this, and we need to create the columns. So we can create the columns with the help of the code, which I'll be pasting it right now, and I'll explain it line by line. So now you will see we have a string. So we have a column called name, description, price, and image. So these are the data type. The name is string, the description is text, the price is integer, and the image is string. So once this is done, we have created a model, we have modified the table, and we have added the column. So once these are done, what we need to do is, so one more thing that is missing, we need to modify the user table as well. So we actually, I have pasted this in the wrong file. Actually it should be the burger. Actually I have not pasted it, it's actually coming from the default one. So we need to add one more thing, which is we'll add is_admin, is_admin, or just follow a case sensitive camel case is_admin, and in the model use this as a fillable, and that's it. So once this is done, we need to run a code called php artisan migrate. Once you click on php artisan migrate, you will see the table would be created. So if I click on this structure, you will see some tables are created. So if I click on users, we will see the is_admin is added, yes, properly, and in the burgers table you will see name, description, price, image has been added with the help of the migrate code. So this is done. So let's move into the third one, which is controller. So we'll make sure we need the we'll implement the admin LTE. So the second one is going to be integrate admin LTE. So let's close these. Now in the admin LTE, so I have a source code. I'll leave the link in the description. You'll find a folder called admin LTE. Inside that you have index. So we need to somehow copy paste all the codes. So let me just open the HTML in our Visual Studio Code. First and foremost thing, we need to link these style and script file to our Laravel blade. So we need to understand where this is coming from. As I have already shown you, this is welcome.blade.php, and if you click on welcome.blade.php or home.blade.php, just consider home.blade.php, and you'll see this is just surrounded by a code. This HTML is surrounded by a code called the content. So where this content is, so you are extending a layout. So inside the layouts folder we have a file called app. Just click on it and you will see a yield. So this place I want you to note, I wanted to give you a full attention here. What I am about to say is very important. This yield will be replaced by the content whatever is there inside the home.blade.php. So you'll see, so if I type Vishal, my name, and if I call for home in the route home, the server is down, so let's activate the server. So as I said, if I call home, you will see, it's just redirecting to the, so in the web.php I have to modify one more thing. So the web.php is just a traffic signal, so it says where should all the URL redirect. So when there's a call for home, it is going to find the controller. The controller here is app http the home controller, and inside the home controller it will go for index. It will go for index, and inside, as of now, let me just comment this. It will go for index, and inside the index whatever is there will be executed. Now if I search for home, you will see Vishal shows up because this content is coming from here. So whatever you type here in between these section will be displayed in place of yield. I hope this is clear. So I have commented the middleware, that's why it is not redirecting me to the login. So it's just restricting me as a regular user that not without login you are not able to access, you should not access this home. So by commenting this, so now I can access it even without login. So that's a lot of information, I believe. Just to keep it very simple, we are going to create a file called sidebar, new file, sidebar dot blade dot php. It's wrong, it should be sidebar dot blade dot php. Inside, not inside layout, inside the views, new file, blade dot php, and we need to open the HTML and place the aside. So this is the HTML, you'll find aside, yeah, it's here. Just copy this aside and paste it inside sidebar, and now you can call this into our home.blade.php by @include include, and the include here is sidebar, just the sidebar. Since we are directly inside the layout, we can access it with the help of name. Now if I refresh it, the sidebar HTML will be there, but the CSS is not there. We know the header and footer is coming from app.layout, so we need to paste the CSS here, CSS links. So let me call all these and get into app.blade.php and paste it here. And if I show you, press U, and you'll see all of them has the absolute path in the sense along with the IP address, but our HTML, our CSS which we have faced, HTML and CSS which we have faced, is because without the absolute path. So to have this, you need to use this function. Cool. Once this is done, if you refresh it, now it's an absolute path. If you click it, you will be able to access. Oh, I think you're not able to access. See, because we have not pasted it, the asset folder, into the relevant place from where it need to be accessed. So the admin LTE, copy this file and get into our folder, which is the Laravel projects, and inside the Laravel projects it's burger shop. Inside the burger shop it's resources, view, just place on the resources, and that's it. Now it would be linked. Now you will be able to access the 4.4 error. This error will not be there once it get fully pasted. Refresh it. I'm sorry for that, I'm a little confused. It should be inside public. I think I have a lot of topic to cover in just 1 hour, that's why I'm a little confused. So now you'll be able to access it. Now if I refresh it, we have CSS access, but for the JS again Let me just hide this, and just below the bottom, just where the body starts, you need to have your JS. And the same way, we need to access it with the help of IP address, we need this asset function. I'm running this fast because this is episode number 20. We have covered this in episode number 1. And in the episode number 1 or something like in the episode number 5th, we have gone very slow. Cool, now you can see it's working. So now in the sidebar, it's a burger, so it's already a burger, so that's not an issue. Cool. And one more thing, if you want, you can have home. Cool. Now we need to create two files, view and create. Home will create later on in the middleware section. So to create a file, we need to get into views, create a new file, and we'll call it as create.blade.php. And we need to create one more file, which is not in the layout but in the views, index.blade.php. Now we have created this, so can we access this with the help of create? No, we can't. So to do that, we need a controller. So let's create a controller. So the code for the controller here is, it's just burger controller. Just paste it. A controller will be created. So you can see the controller over here. You can see burger controller is there. So inside the burger controller we have index, create, store, show, edit, update, and destroy function. And now let's get into the web.php, which is a traffic signal guy for Laravel. In the web.php, so when there is a call for create, so we'll just name it as burger/create, burger/create, and burger.index. Since we have created two files, we are creating the URL for two files, index. So it need to get into a controller called burger controller. So it need to get into the burger controller. So inside the burger controller, the first one should go for the class function called create. The second one should activate the function called index. So the name route is important. I'll show you in a minute why it is. So this is the name of the route. It's not home, it's burger dot index. And now as I call for this URL, so make sure you have imported the controller over here. So when there's a call for this URL, it will get into this controller and call the create function. So in the create function, if I return return just hello, and if I type in the URL burger/create, if the server is active, you will see hello. And now in place of create, you can return a HTML with the help of return view, and here we'll create, which is we can directly call create. And inside the create, if you type something hello from create, so you see hello from create is there. In the same way, hello from index, so when there's a call for the URL, it will get into the index function, and inside the index function I'm going to return the view called index. So when there's a call for index, hello from index shows up. So in the create there would be form, in the index there would be HTML table. So let me create that accordingly. So the here let me just copy the code which is there in home, so that we can have our HTML. So this is index and this is create. So just between here we need to paste our HTML. So hit the admin LTE just after aside, so we can have this section over here in the index and the create. Now if I refresh, you can see you can have your table create function here. So let's add a HTML form first, and now I have pasted the HTML. So to see HTML, we have name of the worker, it's just a input field. Make sure you have the name attribute on all the HTML below. The description, it's text area, again we have a name attribute, and then we have a burger. So you'll see the price of the burger, it also has a name attribute, and then we have image, and you'll see there is some problem here. So to avoid that, I'll give you a quick fix. Just copy this aside and just make this fixed, and now you need to copy this and paste it into our app.blade.php head, and that's a fix. Now if you refresh, it's there. Cool. So I believe the HTML is clear. The same way, if I click on save, where the data would be posted, the data would be posted in the action. So since we are using image, so the encrypt part is important, and this is also important. This is cross-site request forgery. It's a long concept. It's better you Google it. Now just to notice that this is there, or else it won't work. Now when I click on submit, the data should send somewhere. So the data should go to burger/store. So let's stop here, and I want you to notice one thing. In the controller you will see, sorry, in the web.php you will see the name route, isn't it? So let's get into the sidebar, and in the place of view, in the place of href, now I want you to notice one thing. We are going to use this name attribute, so this is called route name. So to give the, instead of giving the URL, you can give the route name. So the route name here is, we need to use this is blade, and route is a function, and we need to pass the parameter which is burger dot view or index. The same way we can give the route name create. We are not giving it because we are accessing it from here. So when I mean this, it is actually this URL. So when I mean this, it is actually this URL. The same way in our form which we are creating right now, it should go to this burger dot store, which we haven't created yet. We'll create it right now. So just duplicate this. It's going to be store, and the method is going to be post because form submission, and inside the controller we have a relevant function called store, and this is the route name as we have already used in the action attribute. So when I click on submit, this URL will be activated and the relevant function is store. So in the home dot burger controller you will see store. So here the data will be sent. So just to receive the data, so you can get all the input pair value with the help of this variable all. Now if I click on submit, there is syntax error in burger controller. Yeah, it's the colon. Now if I click on save, you see it's burger slash store. The burger slash store, burger slash store, and the relevant function that is going to trigger is store. So in the store we are just dumping the data. So the name is null, the description is null, and the price is null. So this token is coming from CSRF. And now we need to add validation. To add validation, we need to, I'm just going to show you one thing. The validation will be there inside the HTTP. Just inside the HTTP, just we have two folder. Now we'll find a new folder called request once I give command to this. So this is going to be burger create. So there will be two validation in this video. The first one is create and for update. BURGER. Just click on it, and you can see there is a request, and the request we have burger create request. And make sure your server is running. And now yes, I need a validation, so true. And the rules should be, and the rules is simple. It should be, it's just these, which is we have a name, we have description, we have price. So these are the HTML name attribute. We don't have category. So the name is required and it's string, the minimum value and the maximum value. The description is required, it's string, the minimum value and the maximum value. The price is required and the data type is numeric, the minimum value and the maximum value. The image is required and the accepted types are PNG, JPG and JPEG. Cool. Now we need to call this class in our controller as a object. So you can see this is the object. So we need to insert it as well. Use app/http. Inside the HTTP we have request, and inside the request we have a class called burger create request. Now we need to show the error. To show the error, we need to get above the class form, and we need to paste the error. If there is any error, just show the error. So the error variable will hold the error. If the count of the error is greater than 0, so that means error is there. Then display the error one by one with the help of for each, and we'll use alert danger. Cool. Now if I click submit, refresh this first. If I click submit, you will see the name is required. So if I type UI monk burger and click on save again, you will see the name attribute will go away, but the rest will be there. So I hope the validation is the validation which I have done is you might have understood. Now if I type something and the data will get into the store function of controller, we don't need this store function of controller, and I'm going to call the model because I'm going to get all the HTML value with the help of this request and store it into the database with the help of model. So here we need to call the model inside the app. We have models, MODDLS, and inside the models we have burger class. So inside the model we have burger class. So since we are going to make a bulk update, we need to modify burger.php. I'll do it in a minute. So to insert the code, so to save the values from form to the database, what you have to do is you need to write a code called call the model, which is burger create, and now so I'm saying get the name attribute, get the name attribute of description, get the name attribute of price, and store it. So these are the column names of this burger attribute. We have inserted it here, we have called it here. So this is model, and now you can see for the image we have a special variable called path. So what will happen when I click on save button? So the image need to be saved somewhere. So the place that so the place where the Laravel will choose is the place called storage. So there should be a folder called storage. Yeah, it's over here. Inside the storage we have app. Inside the app we have public. So inside the public we will have a file. So in that place our image will be stored. So inside the path we get the image and use the store function, and with the store function we'll create a, where is the store? The store function will create a folder inside public in the name of burger, and once the save is done we need to redirect it somewhere. Once the save is done you will see we need to redirect with the route name burger and the messages, and in the index page just above the card body we need to have the message. This is the message from we can access, and if this is responsible for having it will catch the message which we will be sending with the help of the message with. So let's try, refresh this. UI monk burger. If there is no error, make sure server is running. Yes, 150 rupees. The image, oh sorry, this is not the relevant file. Image burger, choose this first one and click on save. Okay, as I said we are making a bulk update. So when we make a bulk update we need to make sure we are not guarding any values in the HTML. So in that case we would be using, I'm saying to the Laravel saying that don't guard anything, so I'm passing the empty array. So if I click back, so the data will be there, and if I click on save and it says stored successfully. So let me check whether the image is there or not. So in the public you'll see a burger folder is created, and inside the burger folder we have two files. So that means we have our data, our first data. So we have completed the CRUD create section create part, and now it's time for the index. So we need to list whatever we get. So in that case we need the table, the code for the table, and now it's very straightforward. In the index we need to get all the data from the database. So in the controller, in the index we need to use the model which is burger and use the static method called get and store it into a variable called dollar burgers and send the received data with the help of compact function. So now we can access the variable burger variable into our index.blade.php because we are returning it. You'll see return to the index, and we can access it with the help of, you can see here, burgers, and we are using for each, and we can access individually with the help of for each. So for the serial number I'm just making this 0 plus 1. So now it's 1, and the first value, the description, the price, the category, and to display the image I'm using this storage class static URL and the burger.image. And now if I refresh, and in the index page you will see the first image. So the image is not there. So the image is not there because it's not able to access. So in the front end it will only be able to access the public folder. So we need to link the storage folder, you can see the storage folder and the public folder. If you see in the public folder we have only 3 folders, so let me link that. So php artisan storage colon URL, the storage S is capital, click enter. sorry, storage colon link. I'm not confused. So now it's linked. You can see there is a fourth folder called storage. Now if you refresh, the server is down. Oh sorry, HP Addison server, and refresh it. You would see the image. The category is not there, so we can remove the category. So the read part is also done. Now it's time for update. So for update we need a anchor tag with class VTN, then VTN primary, and if I refresh you can have a text called edit. We don't need this category because we don't have a variable. Cool, edit. So once I click on edit, a form should open up. So the form should be similar to create. So let me just save as, and I'm going to name it as update.blade.php. Now we have update.blade.php. So when I click on edit, what should happen? There should be a URL called route and burger.update, and as a second parameter we need to pass the ID. So to get the ID you can just use this ID, because in the database you will see it has an ID here. And now we need to create this in web.php. It's just a get request. When there's a call for update, and call the update function in the burger controller, and this is the name route, and along with that we are passing the ID. So this is how we pass ID in Laravel. ID. Now once I click on this, once we click on the button, the update function is responsible. In the update function we can access this ID. So just type dd and pass the ID, and let's check whether we are able to access it. Syntax error on views where somewhere in our index. Actually we don't have this because we are already inside bleed. Cool, click on edit and you can see one shows up. So let me add one more thing. Update, create chicken burger 200 rupees. Let's choose the second image, click on save, and if you see, if I click on the second one, you see 2 comes up. Now it's time for the update. So the update is responsible in the controller. The update is responsible. So here we need to write code for update. So with the help of model, I'm going to use the find static method and passing the ID and the individual row. If it is 1, let me just click on browse. We have 2 values. If it is just 1, then only the 1 row value will go. If it is 2, only the second row value will be stored here. So once we get all the values, what we need to do is we need to fill the object with the request. As I said, this request will hold all the HTML values. Now we are saving it accordingly. We don't need this description, this price, path, and again for the image there could be 2 sections, two possible. The first possibility is, so let me just do one thing, just comment these. So before updating the code we need to call the edit and in the update function, not in the update function, in the web.php, it's a update. Actually, it should not be update, it should be edit, 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 and in the controller it's the edit, and in the edit function we need to pass this single row value into the route return view, which is update worker dot update, and with compact function the burger. So now we can access this value burger in the update, and now you will see, click on edit. There seems to be a problem. 1 minute. Not on update but on edit. Sorry for that. Burger update is not defined, but where we have added it, we need to remove it. Wherever we have used update, we need to remove that. It's not update, it's edit. Refresh it. In the view, edit, burger.edit does not exist. In the web.php, burger.edit does not exist, but then what it is. So actually the edit will not have ID. Yeah, but it will have ID. The view, actually it's not update, it's just, we just need to save it as edit. And now if I click on edit, in the web.php, when I hover it, you will see in the index route edit we get the ID. So it will have an ID called 2. So when I click it, it will go to the route. So we have ID, then the edit function of burger, just make sure this view does not have, we can access it directly without the burger. Cool. Click on edit, and now you can see we can access this value individual row in the edit in place of value burger dot name installer. So if I refresh, you see the value burger. Let me click view. So when I click chicken burger and click on edit, so here in place of attribute you get chicken burger. So the same way for the text area, the column name is description. The same way for the price, let's just make this text, and you can change the value and its price, the column name, and here we need to have image. In the image, let the width be 150 rupees, sorry 150 pixel, and if I refresh, and we'll have an image. So we can access the image this way. So in the index.php you will see we can use the same code as we have used in the index.php. capital burger. Cool. Now if you click on view and if you click on UI among burger, UI among burger shows up. If you click on uh, the chicken burger data shows up. So now here again we need to create validation. If I click on save, the validation should be created. So to create the validation again, we will be using the same as we have done earlier, which is request. And here this is going to be update request, UVDAT, update request. And update request will be created in the request folder. So we need to copy paste the same thing as we have done, but in this case it should be true. The image is not mandatory, that's it. And why is that? So while editing, there is a possibility of leaving the image as it is and changing the text. So now that's clear. Now if I click on save, instead of save we need to make this update, UVDAT, refresh, it's update. Server is down, PHP addition serve. If I click on update, the data will be sent to the update URL along with the ID. Now, and the method is going to be foot. Now let's create the update section. So the method is going to be foot, and again it's update the URL there would be update, and the function that would be dealing is update, and the name route is going to be update. So now when you click on update, all the data will be sent to this URL, and the function that will be the function that will be responsible for handling is update. So as I said, in the update it will fetch only one value. Now the ID is 2, so only the second row data will be there, so rest is similar. I'm finding the row. Once I get the row, I'm filling the row with the data which we receive from the request. So before that, we can make the update request class reference here, and since we have already called previous, it's easy to update the update. Cool. Now as I said, there could be two scenarios. The first scenario is the request has an image, that means the user modified the image. The second one is the user does not have the image. In that case, if the first case is the request has image, and the second one is the user did not modify the image. If the user did not modify the image, what we can do is we can simply get the image from the row which we have fetched and save it into the path. And if the user modified the image, so in that case get the request, in the request we have image, and store it into the burger folder. Cool. Once the update is done, what we need to do, we need to return back to the same index and saying the message that it is updated successfully. Refresh it. So let's get into the, make sure the server is running. Yes. View. Let's add one more visa, which is create, and we can name as cheeseburger. Description 300 and this is the third burger. Click on save, and I want to modify the price. Instead of 350, let me just make this 500 and click on update. So if everything works fine, yes, it is updated successfully, and the image we are not getting it. Its name, it's not image. I'm sorry for that. We'll delete this later on, and or try to update it. Update. Let's see what's the issue. And you see it does not get. Actually, in the image it's just cheeseburger. There seems to be an issue. Let me try adding it one more time. Create. Save. And yeah, you got it. Cool. The update part is also done. Now it's time for the delete. So to have delete, you have to get into the index first. Index, and here duplicate this, and here it's going to be delete, and it's going to be danger class, and here we will use the name route delete, and assure will be passing the ID, and we need to make sure its type equal to submit, and it should surround inside form. And the method is going to be delete, and if I refresh, delete not defined. Actually there's a route problem, we have not created the route, that's why. Let me just delete this, and you see there is delete. So let's create a web, duplicate this, so the method is going to be delete, so the URL is also delete, and the method is destroy, and in the form URL you need to pass this. We don't need this as of now. And if I hover, you will see the 4, 2, and if I click on the delete, the method in the URL, I'm sorry for that, it should not do anything. Actually this should be in the action. Method post, and here it should say nothing, JavaScript colon void 0, and we need to call Bootstrap 4 model. So get into the model, just copy the whole section and paste it just after the, we don't need this, save changes, we don't need this, close. But actually I'll get this from the W3, it is very straightforward in W3 rather than making complicated. So when I click on this button, model shows up. That's it. So copy the whole model section and paste it before for each, and the data that is going to be responsible for activating the model, we need to paste that. So this can be button, we don't need a href for that. The only thing is it should be input type submit. Cool. So each button will have unique model, so in that case we need to pass the ID also. So each button will have unique model. So delete item. So here the input type submit should be here. And we are going to confirm it. And click on delete. Refresh this so that HTML gets loaded. Cool. Now it's pushing to the destroy function. So here we have destroy dd $id. Back. Try deleting it. So in the web.php, call for burger.delete, get in the destroy function, and the method is delete, and in the index make sure it's delete. Yes, delete. Let's check whether it's because of case sensitive. Actually, when I click on this, model should show up, but the model is not showing up. Let me just hide this for now. And if I click on a delete, the model should open. The model is not opening. Let me see why. Oh, I got the problem. It's simply we need to pass it inside blade. Now if I click delete, model shows up, and if I click on submit, it should go to the new URL. Make sure your form closes just below where your HTML form for each. Delete. So input type submit. Yes, I have made a mistake, which is the form should get surrounded, not here but here. So refresh this. I think we have not used CSRF, that's the reason it was giving page expired. Refresh this. So again let's try it without CSRF. Let's check whether it's because of CSRF. Delete. With CSRF, are you sure? Yes. Oh yeah, it's because of CSRF. Now we understood the importance of CSRF. Now in the burger controller, we'll use the destroy method. Find, then delete. And upon deleting, let us just direct it to the burger index page and saying the message it is deleted. Let's try deleting the yellow one. Click delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, delete. And deleted successfully, and it's gone. Let me just check whether we have two values or not. Yes, we have only two values. Now let's add pagination. To add pagination, we need to create two more burgers. Burger 3, 200. Save. Again, burger 4, 250. Save. Now we just add one more burger. Burger 5, 150. Save. Cool. So we'll just show at only three in the table, and the rest should be in the next page. So in that case, we should use Laravel Bootstrap Pagination. Now let me get into the 8. We need to click on the using Bootstrap. Now here we need to get into the service provider. So here the service provider, inside the app service provider, we need to call this use, and here we need to call the boot paginator. So once you make available the pagination, you need to get into the index because it's where it is getting loaded from the controller. From the let's get in the controller, burger controller. Instead of get static method, we should use paginate, PAGINATE, paginate. Since we are using paginate, now we need to pass the value paginate only two values, sorry, 3 per page. So 3 per page. So now we don't have pagination. So in that case, we need to get into the HTML, and just after the for each ends, we need to use this. Just after the for each, where the table ends, we need to call the variable. Here is this one, burger. Now with this link, burger.links, so we need to use the for each. This is burgers, so burgers links. So now the second page will have rest of the burgers. So the pagination part is also done. View, and what else? Now it's time to log in. So register some user. So user one user1 @ gmail.com, user1 gmail.com, user1 gmail.com, user1 gmail.com. Click on register. So is admin does not have default value. So is admin does not have default value. So in that case, this is an error. So in the user.php model, or in the not in the provider, but in the database migration, user table is admin, and the default value default defaults should be 0. This is how we should have written, but no problem. Here we can modify it. Click on the burgers table, so not on the burgers table but on the users table. Users, click on a structure, and then we can edit this, change. We can have defaults as 0. If it is 0, it is not an admin. If it is 1, then it is admin. So let's try again. Let me see whether on refresh the page has saved some data or not. That's what we are checking it. Browse, should not take this long. Okay, now let's try registering it. User, user, user@gmail.com, password and confirm password, save. Now let's check. The isadmin should be 1. Sorry, isadmin should be 0 default. Now what if the admin should have 1, but the way to insert, how do we insert that it is an admin? So in that case we can test it with the help of databaseSeeder.php. So understand the problem here. I want to make this isadmin1, but this is a form which does not allow me to add isadmin1. So in that case we have to get into the seeders.php, database seeders, and here we'll be pasting a function. Make sure your user model is used here. Use app, inside app we have models, models. Inside models we have user. Now call that user and assign the name, the admin, the password. You can see I'm using the password with the help of encryption, and the admin is 1. So I'm setting the admin is 1. So after that you need to run this php artisan seed and run the server again. And if I click on the browse, you can see now this admin is 1. Now it's time for the middleware. Middleware comes when you search for any URL. So when you search for any URL, by the time there are the Laravel response will be providing a page. When you type create here, so Laravel will give you create page. So before, in between these steps, there comes the middleware part. So we are going to create a middleware now. So now to create the middleware, I'm going to check whether it is admin or not. If it is admin, then show the backend operation. If it is not admin, then don't show. So burger admin. So this is a code that we will be creating while creating middleware. So you can see in the middleware, in the HTTP, these are the default available middleware. So let's create our middleware now, which is burger admin. So you can see burger admin is created. So here, before showing the page, I want to say if the authentication user is admin value equal to 1, then only show the request. If it's not admin, then return view front end page. So we need to create front end page. where in the resources, we need to create a new file called frontend.blade.php, and whatever is there in the home, just copy the same value and paste it. And this is front end for non-admin user. So let's try. So in the middleware, if it is not admin, then let's see what it is being shown. So before that, we need to register the admin. So how we are going to do this? Call this, and in the kernel page, in the route middleware, we need to register it. So the name is going to be admin, browser admin middleware. Store it at the bottom. Now the class is burger admin, so we need to use this at the top. Cool. Now we need to create a route group in the web.php. Route group, and this is the middleware. And just paste it whatever is there inside. Now this is protected with route. Now let's try calling the burger create, so we are not able to access. So when there's a call for home, let's see what it is showing. It is showing something. We should show the front end. So home controller, inside the home controller, we don't need this. We need to return the view called front end page. So when there's a call for home, we should return front end page. There's a call for home, or just slash get into the home controller, and in the index page just return the view. Yes, in the front end we have sidebar, that's what it is displaying, but we don't need this. So you can see this is front end for non-admin user. So if I try to enter burger.create, it's going to give me an error because it will not allow me to access. And here we can have our HTML. So let me just copy the code and explain it. Now to display, what we need to do is we need to have access to all the products. So to have access to all products, the router that is handling, the controller that is handling, which is home controller, should have access to the model called uh, burger. Inside app, inside we have models, inside models we have burger. So we can access the burger colon get all and store it into a variable called all underscore burgers. Now we can pass this value with the help of compact function all burgers. Now the all burger can be accessed in the front end page because it's where we are sending it. We don't need this as of now. So running the for each loop, and this is the carousel for the Bootstrap carousel code, and I'm just for the first section just getting the images, and on the second section I'm going to list all the burgers with name and price. Refresh it. Undefined ice cream, so there is, it should be just burger, and now you can see the burger has come, and these are the dynamic values of the burger. Now we can only access as a non-user, so as an admin, so you can see the admin1, so it's uimonk@gmail.com. I'm logged in, I'm getting logged in, and now wait, so there's some problem in copy pasting. ICECR somewhere. CSC docs resources view front end or later PHP. In the front end there is some history value. I think this is getting run. Let's try to remove this and run. Let's just change this to burger as of now. Refresh this. Now I'm logged in. So now the code which I have written in the middleware is similar. If I am logged in user, I'm checking if I am an admin, then show these two links, which is create and view all. Create and view all. So if I'm not an admin, I'm just a logged in user, so then don't show this. So let me log out, and once I logged out, you can see the admin part goes away, and I won't be able to access burger create or burger index. But if I log in as a non-admin user, user@gmail.com, I should not able to see the create and view all button. Fine, that's working. Now if you want to change this, it's very simple. It's coming from, I guess, app.blade.php. You can just change it to burger shop. Save this. No, it's coming. Actually, I got it. It is coming from here. Finally, let me just check. As a non-logged in user, so this is the access I can get. So if I am a user who is not admin, which is user@gmail.com, this is a user which is not admin. So again, he is just a regular user. He will be just able to view this. Later on we'll add some more functionality here, but if I'm a logger, I'm a admin who is uimonk@gmail.com. I will be able to access, create. So let me create one more. So as you see in the sidebar, now I can have a route for the home, which is, let me just get into view.web.php, and it's just home. This is the name of the route. Cool. Now in the incognito mode, I should see, if I click on home, I should be redirected to the front end. So now let me create. So before that, I'll show you. So these are the available products. So let me add one more product, which is ice cream. Mango ice, and the price is 150. Let me add mango ice. Click on save. It's added successfully, and you'll see the pagination also works fine. Now if I get into the home page of front end, the mango shows up. Cool. The scope of this video is done. So this is the simple CRUD operation along with the simple CMS website which we have made with Laravel. Let's meet at the next CMS website. Thank you.